Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage podcast, episode 180. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky. Hello.
Hey there.
I deliberately started the episode in the worst possible moment.
That's perfect.
Because we have a really good habit. Yes, exactly.
I bought a bunch of them at the gas station, so when I can eat them in front of my students, and when they ask for one, I can give them one tiny ass M&M.
That's a really good idea.
And then you can tell them that once they've depleted the M&Ms, they can use that storage container for other things.
Yeah.
Pro tip: if you're a marijuanist, those are actually really good for strong weeks. They're airtight.
And quarters.
Yeah. The more you know.
The more G.I. Joe, right there. I just every time I hear that, a shooting star goes across my face. And like if I'm driving at night, it's a really bad thing, and I almost fly off the road.
But now you know.
Sometimes it's worth having the knowledge, because knowledge is half the battle.
Yeah, if you ever become a marijuanist, now you're good to go.
Yeah, I don't know anything about being a marijuanist, but I mean I know there are folks that do the devil's lettuce. So
yeah, I'm not of that sort. I'm too frugal.
M&Ms. They're better than big ones.
Same. I buy car parts
Like
instead.
if I could afford it, yeah. But I mean, like I don't know. I'd rather own a house.
Why would I buy that 10 uses of marijuana when I'm going to buy a wheel bearing and fix an issue with this car?
Yeah, you get
this terrible car that I didn't need
you could
ever.
have 10 uses of your Ferrari. Or
Ooh. Yeah. I have put a lot of miles on that thing this weekend. It's been
exactly. Yeah, you've had 10 whole uses.
Anyway, I'm drinking a Coors Banquet this time around.
Yes,
it is one of my favorite trash beers, and that rings true. I'm still trying to wash my body of that 9% 16-ounce surly that our patron Tom fed me. He didn't tell me anything about the beer. It's just like, yeah, you got to try one of these.
And then it just turned out to be a disaster.
I poured it into a red Solo cup, and I didn't realize what was going on until it was too late. And now,
Tragic.
Yeah, it is tragic. Thank you. Before we head into topics, I need to do our obligatory plug, which is patreon.com/Carbitrage. If you head over in any old web browser, preferably not Microsoft Edge because you're a peasant, to patreon.com/Carbitrage, you'll find 2 open-ended levels of support that directly benefits content producers like us. Actually, no, that is actually just us. It only benefits us. What Patreon allows you to do is buy us beer, essentially. And we would greatly appreciate it. So if you don't want to, no problem. We'll keep right on making the podcast, but I'm going to keep drilling it into your ears. So with that, let's move right into topics.
Yes.
And I guess I have the first one this time.
You do.
I am sure I hopped into the notes at some point during the week to write this, because it's actually fairly rare that I get into the topics before about an hour before the podcast. Yeah. Usually I will jump in and be like, okay, what did I deal with this week? What did we find?
Just going throughout the week, adding things as they come into my mind.
Which is fine, but when we do, and we both have this from time to time, because sometimes I'll hop in on a Saturday and you are all the way through 2 episodes. I'm like, Ryan's had a busy week.
Yeah, I'm working on my first episode of the next recording.
So we operate in a Google Doc sheet or whatever online, and sometimes it really gets pushed down. But I don't remember the context. But as I start reading this, I'm sure I will. So insurance companies and claims. I remember why I wrote this now. How they will do literally anything in and out of the book to screw over their subscriber or their whatever you want to call it, the person that pays them money.
100%.
So right now, when I got back from a couple of weeks ago, I was up north visiting my paternal grandmother. Tesla was parked outside here, and we had a fairly nasty hailstorm. So I don't know exactly when during that weekend this loss occurred, but at some point, the back window of my Tesla became broken because of hail.
What?
I know.
That's actually crazy.
I know. It's really, really strange. But anyway, it doesn't leak or anything, so it's not a huge deal, and I don't really care about the visibility.
Oh, is that little crack back there?
It is a little crack, yep. I noticed when I looked up and there was somebody behind me, I'm like, there's some weird prismatic effect coming out, and it was a shattered window. So let me paint the picture for you.
Yes, please do.
I have Progressive, which is universally known as the second worst auto insurance company you could ever have for a claim.
So, all right, this is weird because I've had nothing but good experiences with every claim I've ever had with Progressive.
I've usually been on the other end fighting them.
So every time I've ever had one, I took Progressive because I had State Farm, and I remember I was trying to remember my old insurance agent's name from State Farm because he was such an apocalyptic dickbag.
Oh wait, are we throwing old insurance agents under the bus?
I would.
Harlan Swanson.
I would absolutely,
That
if I could.
agent.
I know his name's
State
Tom
Farm.
something. Yeah, I would throw this guy's. I'd throw him under the bus. I'd buy other buses to drive over him with. I hate this guy.
It's a nice bus. It's a good
Yeah.
bus. Detroit 8V71 power.
Yeah, and so I would. But anyway, so yeah, I took I went away from State Farm because it was awful, and I went to Progressive because of a good experience I had with them. A lady rear-ended the person that was behind me and sent her flying into my CRX back when I had it.
Okay.
And Progressive took care of me, and they're like, "You were trying to get out of the way. Like, why would we have any part of this?" And
I had a similarly good experience with State Farm.
what they did with what Progressive did with me was, so I had my clear tails on my CRX, and they actually cover modified parts.
Yep.
The clear tails on my CRX, but the modified parts they'll cover and they'll give you money for the modified part, but they do not increase the value of your vehicle. And so the guy, as he was writing it, calls me up. He goes, "Hey, how bad do you really want these clear tails replaced?" I'm like, "Quite badly." He goes, "Well, it will total out your car." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "It's literally $600, and your car is KBB is $3,000, and it's $1,500 in damage before the car gets totaled out, and you're gonna be about $1,575." I'm like, And he's like, "So we could do two things. We can either cover the clear taillights, or we could just not mention that there's a small crease on the driver's side wheel arch." I'm like, "Let's do the latter." And so they just didn't mention the crease in the wheel arch, and they covered my clear tails. And it was awesome. So they went right up to the limit of what they could do.
That's when you say, "Fuck your Blue Book value. Here's a bunch of comps."
Well, that's
and
the
then
thing.
they will adjust their valuation.
The Blue Book is on the nuts for my car.
Doesn't matter.
It was a 300,000 mile CRX.
No, you find the outliers because they can't dispute you.
But anyway, so the thing was, they took care of me on that, and they were honestly, Progressive's done nothing but good things for me. They've done everything they can to drop prices for everything on me. So yeah, I love them. So,
well, I had my first incident with Progressive when I got sideswiped in my Boxster by this man that barely spoke English on 94. I was covered by Farmers at the time, and I had a witness that stopped, and the man had a different story, and I had a recorded admission from the state trooper on the site saying that the other guy was clearly at fault, and it took 91 days to beat a check out of Progressive. So, huge fault there.
I will say that it took about that time frame for my CRX. I actually got the money for it after I sold the car, but that's...
And, I mean, that's fine-ish for us, because whatever. Like, my car wasn't totaled. It wasn't totaled, so I was driving it. But, like, I got forwarded to their fraud department. They literally thought I was trying to defraud them, even though I had sent them a video recording of the police officer saying that it was the guy's fault. The guy had a completely wrong rendition of what happened on file. Again, the recording I sent them of the evening with his voice and the police officer said so, the police report said so, the witness said so, and I said so. They forwarded me off because I was pushing so hard on the fact that they were so retarded. Anyway, this has nothing to do with my window here. Now I'm insured by Progressive because it's actually reasonably priced, or Farmers wasn't. And the biggest issue was the tint. So I have an aftermarket tint job on my car. Tint Pros did it 2 years ago. I have the invoice. It was all above deck. Everything's fine, 35%. It's a rear window. It doesn't matter. I'm going through Spaz because I know he's not going to screw me over on the glass stuff. He's like, "Do you want an aftermarket window or the OE?" I'm like, "Whatever's quickest. I don't really care. That's fine." That was fine. They submitted for it. He had mentioned that they were going to cover it. He was going to schedule me. I'm like, "Does this cover the tint?" He's like, "Good question. I didn't know it was tinted. Let me look into it." And Progressive just started throwing up roadblocks. Like, "Well, we don't cover aftermarket tint." I'm like, "Well, you do if it's on a rear window. You don't if it's on a front window."
Yeah.
And this lady that I was on the phone with was like, "Oh, you're right. It looks like we do cover it up to $75. And that's fine. Like, I'm like, I gave you an invoice for the car.
Yeah.
It's dated. It's
right
my
there.
name. It's got the credit card number. Like, "Well, it says sedan, and we have the Tesla Model S classified as a hatchback."
What?
I'm like, "So let me clarify,
No
just so I'm
sedan.
not wasting my time. If I go back call the tint company, get a revised estimate that says 5-door hatchback, you guys will cover it. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I shit you not, that's exactly what I did. I emailed Tian. I'm like, this is going to sound ridiculous, but here's the invoice, here's the date, here's the amount. Hopefully you can look it up easily. Can you rewrite it so it doesn't say sedan? It says 5-door hatchback. And he did. And it submitted it, approved like that.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, what the hell? Like, can you not use your powers of deduction to figure out that Google a picture of a Model S? Anyone will say, it's a sedan. I understand it's a hatchback, but you never see them with the back open. Like, it's a sedan. As much as it pains me to say that, because hatchbacks are superior.
I think I actually think with Progressive, you have to be, it's person by person dependent.
It must be.
All the way down.
But both persons I got were debilitatingly autistic in a bad sort of way.
Like, yeah, because the guy I got was, like, super chill. Like, he was, like he understood. He goes, oh, dude, that sucks. Like, here, let's see what we can do to help you out. Like, so, like, if I think another thing is like, Progressive's very communication skills based, where if you go in there, like, very dry and very business-like, they usually don't help you. But if you go in, you ask them how the day is, you warm them up a little bit.
I schmooze them because you build up a roadblock immediately if you don't.
Yeah, so I've just noticed, like, whenever I work with Progressive, I'm always, like, super nice to them because I know they're gonna be nice to me. So I'm like, I'm not gonna.
How was your week?
It's not like talking. It's not
awesome.
like, it's not like talking to Comcast where I go in and I immediately call the guy an asshole and I say, like, you've made bad decisions with your life.
I've still never had anyone hang up on me when I've said the word fuck, not at them. It's my phone. But still, I try it once in a while, even on, like, virtual meetings for work. And it's like, it's a Friday afternoon, so just so you guys are aware, I use some pretty salty language. They're like, fuck, I'm glad somebody said that. And then they start doing it too. You get, like, the relief that washes over their face when they realize they don't have to be all hoity-toity in their home office.
Yeah, and so, like, that's the thing, is, like, I like it when people are able to be a lot more kind of straightforward, and with Progressive, I really like them because
I think that's just people, though.
They have a local office, too, which is huge, which I like. Out before COVID, I liked going to because, like, it wasn't that far away from where I used to live. And so I just, like, go there and be like, hey, this is my thing. And then I'm out there, we're not on a recorded line, and I could just be, like, really straightforward with them and exactly what happened. Be like, listen, dude, I just want these taillights replaced. Like, they're really, really hard to find. I know they're expensive. Let's just make it happen. I think that crease in that fender was already there. And they're like, okay.
It had previously been in a car accident, too, so it very well could have been.
Yeah.
But even more hilarious is after you got the check, the car was then genuinely totaled out.
Completely destroyed. Like, I got my check a week after the new owner completely blew the front end off of the car and just, like, took out the rear end of a Jeep at, like, Mach 5.
It was just like...
The whole car just fucking exploded. I'm like, well, that sucks.
That car was cool. I like that.
I'm glad I took off my carbon fiber hood.
Which then we sold back to its previous owner, and then that hood was totaled out.
So that hood, I ended up... I think actually
You made more money off that CRX on insurance claims.
Between the insurance claim and the hood that I sold back to Caden, I think I actually broke even on that CRX. Because I sold it for a loss. But once I sold the hood off of it in that insurance, because I took a $1,000 L on it, and then actually I made $1,100 between the insurance and the hood. So
I made money on my Boxster after that sideswipe.
Yeah. So anyway, Progressive's
great. I didn't wash the car for 91 days just in case they wanted to come see it, and they did.
Oh, good.
And you just didn't wash it.
I didn't wash it. I'm like, no, I want you to see the damage as it was. You don't believe my pictures? That's fine. I'm not going to touch it. So I drove the car with, like, just, like, smears all over the quarter panel, and the wheel had, like, black shit on it. I'm like, I haven't touched the car. I've been driving it, but, like, there you go. But anyway, it's not just Progressive. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus.
Yeah.
It's every insurance company. But, like, why the hell do they not have the people that pay them's best interest at heart? They waste so much money trying to screw you over, whereas they could have just paid you a little bit more at a less insulting offer to begin with, and then call it good.
Well, see, the thing is with insurance companies, I understand it's all about making money and everything, but, like, you have such a profit margin from everybody else paying in.
But they make huge profit even at their best dollar amount.
Yeah.
Why not just start there?
Yeah, no, just like...
That was with the SL. Like, I got the numbers after my dad totaled it. He's like, I'm like, well, send me all your insurance back and forth just so I make sure they're not throwing it under the bus. They gave him $11,500 for the car, which was more than I could find any SL600 advertised for, and they wanted $1,400 for the buyback. I'm like, I mean, never take the first offer, so ask him to do better, but that's really good. And they did. I mean, the buyback was free.
Yeah.
By the time we got done with that, I'm like, okay, farmers, props to you. Like, I think it's because we know our agent so well.
Yeah.
And they're just like, just cut the bullshit. Like, these guys know what's up. But, like, I'm illustrating that if all insurance companies just, like, did, like, 1,000 better than their first offer, they would probably close out 90% more claims on the first offer.
Well, because you're not going to have assholes like you and me going in and treating like the Comcast guy. Where you're
because
just like,
they're being assholes to you. Because they're deliberately undervaluing their shit and they know it.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thing with, like, with my cars and everything with, like, Comcast and all that. Is, like, Comcast, I guess. Is, like, if
I'm
you're...
fine with throwing them under the bus. That's fine.
If you're going to be a dick, like, I'm perfectly capable of being a bigger dick than you. Like, we're going to have a big dick contest.
I am the spend 1,000 to save 100 guy. So
You're the person...
Sure.
You're literally the guy that brought a personal criminal attorney. What kind of attorney?
criminal defense attorney
a criminal
to
defense
fight
attorney.
a $150 speeding ticket 300 miles from my home on a weekday.
Yeah, that's what you would do. And I don't have the
And it was one of the
funds
best.
to do that,
My
but I
lawyer
will
and I
do
talk
everything
about it all
else.
the time over cigars. It's a lovely trip. But
And like, you guys are the type of guys that will make someone cry.
Oh, yeah. If somebody is being an asshole to me, I don't consider my job done until there are tears from somebody else.
I wait a long time to confirm. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I will Batman somebody for sure.
Yeah, I will absolutely, like, if somebody's, like, being a dick, like, if you didn't get a fair shake from somebody, 100% guaranteed they're going to quit their job the next day. Like, I am entirely capable of being the biggest asshole in the world. Yeah. So.
And like, I've never had to claim any insurance or anything like that. I mean,
I've just
there
had-
have been a few
I hope that
teenagers
stays
that
that
have
way.
taken baseball bats to my car, but you know.
I've had, what?
Yeah, there's a big dent. Somebody took
Is
a baseball
Wayne Brady
bat
about to
my,
have to choke a bitch?
But anyway, so,
my car? And
but yeah, I don't know why
insurance
insurance is the way it is.
I'm just illustrating the point that I think if they aimed 10% higher than their bottom line, they would make 30% better than their bottom line.
100%.
It's like with Maury's, like, or actually, no, it's like if I'm Brand Trailer. I tell people.
I think it applies to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but like on Brand Trailer, like I have people where they're like trying to like sell their car, be like, it's the greatest, it's the world's cleanest SL. I've never seen a cleaner R107 in my life.
You need more jowl jiggle.
And I'm just like, listen, dude, you drive a great SL. You're right.
It's a very nice car.
Very nice. But let's not say it's the best one in the world. It might be. It might be. But let's just take it down a notch. Be honest. Tell me what's wrong with the car. Let's open up with that. Open up with your problem.
Because if you don't tell me, the commenters will find it, and they won't bid on your car.
I'm working on a car right now. It's kind of that sort of situation. But like, it's just one of those things where it's like, just
I would be terrible at this job because I'd piss everyone off.
Yeah, but I'm like, just be forthcoming at first, and then once you're forthcoming and you're honest, you have created that kind of social contract that you're not trying to screw them over, they're not trying to screw you over,
and you get more money for your
and
car.
now that's why you have a $5,000 to $100,000 premium on every car in Brand Trailer, because you know you're getting a good thing, as opposed to some asshole on Craigslist that's trying to say best R107 in the world. Yeah. You know what? Open up. Say, hey, this
The
is
CIS cold start injector doesn't work.
This is a great R107. By the way, it got into somebody like launched a kart edit at Mach 5 in 1987, and it has one accident report on its record because somebody decided they wanted to try break the sound record in a parking lot.
When we sell that
their car.
Murcielago someday, that is going to be one of the most intense ads I ever read.
I want to write that car. I want to write that so bad.
And I guarantee, like, none of the shit that's happened to it matters at all.
No, I'm just going to say this is Jenna Jameson's car. My opening photo of that car will be the right front three-quarter because the left front three-quarter.
That's
so you
where
can see
Jenna Jameson crashed it. The left quarter just before the rear wheel is where somebody ran into a boulder, leaving a parking lot
These
with
are
it.
great. Like, I would love that. Like, something that if you came out and said this car is crashed by Jen Jameson, like, by being forthcoming like that, you're gonna make so much more money because this is a hilarious story.
Yep.
It's a great
As
thing.
we include the Jalopnik picture from 2004 that's all pixely with her at the gas pump in this car.
Yeah, exactly. So like that, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Is like being forthcoming gets you a lot further.
Yep.
So speaking of
We're
being,
really good at tangents.
yes, we are.
We're really good at them.
What I want to move on to is actually my one topic that I have written down. Actually, I've got two topics written down. I want to talk about really bad cars.
I mean, we're here, so that's fine.
So,
Okay, great.
what I want to talk about is what is the best terrible car? This is actually how I wrote it. What is the best terrible car that you can make into a good project? Like
A
what?
Jaguar XJS.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about that off air. Is I want
No, we talked about it on the last episode.
Yeah, we did on the last episode. But, like, what are some like really just like truly some cars that like, go from like being pure trash to something? Example, a Ford Fairmont Futura.
Yep.
The 80s Ford midsize rear-wheel
Yep.
drive.
Now those are
inline-six.
all drag cars.
Yeah, every single one's a drag car. So like, what are some other good cars like that?
That's a good answer. I mean, the XJS is way up there.
The XJS, like a 90s XJS, is like way up there.
I'm thinking of stuff that's like rear-wheel drive and has a terrible engine to start with.
I'm thinking personal luxury coupes from the 70s.
Okay.
So,
So
like-
you and I are coming at it different. That's good.
So I'm thinking like a Lincoln Continental, like Mark V. Actually, really any Lincoln Continental of any era.
Cadillac not CTS, Cadillac Catera.
The Catera is
Catera.
another terrible car. It turns into something
Awesome car, really bad engine. So if
Yeah.
you put an LS in it, like the
It just-
Mosler car, it's really
great. It
good.
becomes good, yes.
Because that is a CTS with an old body on it. That's all it was.
Speaking of Mosler, I'm actually going to say, what was that? The
Twin Star. That's their best product
no,
ever.
what was their? Oh my God, Mosler made a.
The 348?
No, it was shit. What was it? The Conciliar.
What's that? Oh, God.
Just look it up. It's an 80s like GTP car for the road, and it has like a Dodge.
How do you spell it?
C-O-U.
Oh, I got it. It's in
yeah.
the top recommendation. Hold on. Let me turn on the screen cap.
Those.
That looks
Conciliar
that
GTP.
looks really bad. That looks
And it-
really bad. What are those Grand Am wheels?
I have no idea, but it's powered by a Dodge Omni engine.
The turbo one or no?
Yeah, a turbo one.
That's actually pretty cool.
So, those are on Centras. Those are actually really hot. That's a really dope aftermarket wheel. But yeah, Conciliar. I think one of those with like a SRT.
It's also a stock Bonneville wheel.
Yeah, I would say like a like a SRT4 engine on one of those would be really dope. Like that'd be a cool project.
I assume it's
car.
mid-engine, right?
Yeah, it's mid-engine rear-wheel drive. Like it was actually built to be.
That
So-
looks like a really shitty old rendition of a Ultimate GTR.
Yeah, well that's the thing. So Mosler actually made that before he made Mosler Automotive. Yes, he made the Conciliar.
Can we just say that Mosler has probably the best name of any automotive tuner
He's
ever?
up there. He's really up there.
Mosler.
I like Mosler.
It's like that Top Gear thing where they race that E46 diesel. Like, I'll pay £250,000 Mosler.
I think
like,
actually
that
my,
sounds
my,
expensive,
my
yeah.
favorite name of any automotive tuner is
That should be a topic.
Let's make that a topic at the end of the episode because I have a blank one.
But no, let's put it in 181 because I want to do some research.
Okay, I'll just I'll say my first pick because I've got a ton. Iskandarian cams.
That's totally fine.
Iskandarian cams is up there. 'Cause
Cat Cams is better because it has the name Cat in
it is true.
it.
But yeah, so what are some? Gianna, you like some weirdo cars?
Yeah.
What are some like
a
cars that
terrible
are
car that could be
objectively
made good?
bad, but you can make into something great? Well, you like the Dodge Omni.
Objectively bad. Well,
The Omni's not a bad car.
I guess it's not. No.
it's
Even the
not.
really garbage one's really good. I'm still thinking too.
I don't know, cause like I don't like objectively bad cars.
I think a GL10 if you
I
put a
just-
SR,
Oh, dude.
STI engine.
What about a Jaguar S-Type?
Oh, God,
That's
that'd be
actually not a
really good
bad
one.
car, but
No.
it just murdered with terrible engines.
You know what I think would be really good? A 2003 Thunderbird
Oh no.
with like performance suspension,
That had the 3.9 liter.
a Coyote
Yeah,
V8
oh.
under the hood. That would be cool. That would be very
Can
cool.
you can you mount any other manual transmission to the Coyote regularly other than the Ford one? Because I know the Coyote 5-liter Ford Trans is bad.
It's an awful transmission.
The second gear synchro
I think there's actually a.
Can you put the GT350 Trans on it?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that there's a adapter kit to put in a
modular. It might work.
No, I think you can put a CD 009.
That'd be really good.
350Z
those
onto
shift
it.
nice too. Okay.
Yeah, I think you can put one of those on.
I don't know why the hell Ford hasn't fixed their second gear synchro problems on the Coyote engine.
Ford's never been able to make a good transmission.
Well, they don't make cars anymore, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, ever. At what point did Ford make a good transmission?
Well, they used the BorgWarner T5 for a while. That was pretty good.
They didn't make it.
That's true. Or Tremec T5?
Tremec.
T5, yeah.
But, I mean, they didn't make it. They've never made a good tranny.
That's true. Like, isn't this the first longitudinal manual transmission they've made?
Yes.
And it's terrible.
Ever. And it is obviously your freshman try.
Okay, why is it that manufacturers, they're like, all right, we'll give you a manual, no problem.
And
they're just like,
off glass.
yeah, what the hell? It was like Saab.
Yeah.
They gave us a manual, like, have fun. You know how in Germany they make sure the transmission will take twice or 3 times the power it's rated for. Saab's like, this car is rated for 218 horsepower. I'm like, we tested it at 219 and it worked most of the time.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, why would you do that?
Actually, Saabs, those are up there for another terrible
Saab,
car
Volvo. Yeah, but like, what do you put in a transverse car?
Would make a Vigan would be kind of cool if you did some stuff with you lower, you put in
I shared the post today about 7 years ago today.
Yeah,
I bought my Vigan. Yeah. I'm like, that was a cool car. I drove it for a couple of seconds.
So the reason
with my second and fifth gears.
The reason I'm asking this question is the reason I'm asking this question is because my only experience to car culture for all of 2020 has been going to the Stinky Nugget meets at Sonic and Bloomington.
What the shit is a Stinky Nugget meet?
It's a small meet between.
Did you go to Wise Guys?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did.
But it's a small meet between me and some of my friends that happens.
My friends
in
and I.
Yeah, it happens in Bloomington. I'll invite you next time I go. But it happens in Bloomington, at the Wendy's, not the Sonic.
Ah, good. Next door.
Yeah,
okay,
next
good.
door. And
tell me what I should bring though when I go.
I would say Blubski if you could. But so what it
would make it one direction.
This is what the Stinky Nugget meet is we're just bringing our cars. So it's like Miguel shows up.
Nice.
With like his thing. But Gunch, my buddy that puts it together.
That's a hell of a name. How do you spell that?
G-U-N-C-H. His real name is John, but we just call him Gunch.
Sounds like Gooch.
But anyway, his dad has his old Hyundai Accent, and he put Ronald turbos on it. The wheels are worth more than the car.
That's kind of cool. Those, they're supposed to the old ones are 4-bolt.
Yeah, and then there's
I'm sorry, guys.
A V12 swapped Grand National.
I do like that. That's got the Mercedes engine.
Yeah, the Mercedes twin turbo V12 was there.
I forget that car's local.
Yeah, well,
I want to talk to
not.
that guy.
He works for Dakota Digital. He's from South Dakota. But he drives up.
That's awesome.
I know, right? But anyway,
I have questions. That's
there's a 3.3 V6 MR2 AW11 supercharged.
3MZ? Nice.
Yeah, very, very cool car.
I want to talk to him about the Mondial Challenge.
Let me
tell you about my Lord and Savior Mondial Challenge.
And then there's,
is it a TRD supercharger?
Yes, it is.
Fuck yeah.
It's a really, really cool car. He's had that car forever.
This episode might get flagged because I think I'm on my third F-bomb there.
There's some other really cool stuff. There's a Mark 1 Jetta coupe with a 1.8 T-swap.
That's really cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. And then
it a 6-speed or a 5-speed?
I don't know. Ask Jack. It's his car. But
fine. I mean, that's the.
Then Josh brings his.
It's a great shape, and that's the best
Josh
engine
and Anna
Audi
show
ever
up to
made.
it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so
just point out the clear tubing on the intercooler. It's all good.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I mean, all the cars are great. Like. It's a
I
really,
see why
it's
you
a
said
really fun
Blubski
name. Yeah.
no.
So yeah, Blubski would fit in perfectly.
I'll take the E30 M3 because that runs.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one.
And it doesn't overheat, otherwise it'd take Brexit.
Yeah, it's a fun meet, and so all these cars are kind of like really terrible cars that you can turn into something great, and that's what I was thinking about. It's like what's a perfect.
Wow, I have 2 of those.
What is the stinkiest nug? Is what I'm saying.
Ford flathead swapped E36 M3.
Yes!
That's what.
That'd be perfect. That'd be the perfect car for this meet.
Are you on Unpopular Carpinions on Facebook?
No, what is that?
Or Unpopular Carpinions?
I should be on this because
it's really good. But somebody said it's where people post unpopular opinions about cars. Like, nobody actually likes the sound of a Ford Flathead V8, and I laid into this guy.
False.
I'm like, that is so false, because there's something that the wettest V8 in the entire creation of humanity.
Literally the worst engine. Like, that sounds great.
It is so bad, it's good.
Yeah. So, like, Gunch hates the Flathead. So what I always, and he hates flatheads and he hates gassers. So I always troll him with them. And in our group
So I should put stock suspension back in the front of the E36 too.
Just flathead gasser E36, everything he hates. It'd be hilarious. Anyway, I shared a gasser BMW Isetta from Brand Trailer, and he like almost had a heart attack because he was so angry. But yeah, no.
This is the kind of car culture I'm about right now.
Yeah, these are like the sort of millennials that are getting into Back to the 50s. Well, no, I'm saying it's the people that are getting into it's the next generation of Back to the 50s sort of people, where we just get like, I want to go back to the 50s. I don't want to spend a lot of money. Let me just get the dumbest possible Back to the 50s car. So something like that.
That's fair.
So we also understand that there's a difference between best and goodest. You can have
most gooderist.
The most gooderist, yes. That having a shitty car isn't necessarily a bad thing. A shitty car just means...
Shitty is very subjective.
Exactly. A shitty car is like everything
I will peer over a shitty car for 2 hours,
yes.
And I will walk right by your build that's done immaculately.
And that's the thing.
Just don't
There's
care.
nothing wrong with a shitty car. Like, a shitty car is great. Like
this looks like it was all done with a $100 Harbor Freight welder. It was.
Yes, you were absolutely correct.
And you drove it here?
Two of them, actually.
On Harbor Freight jack stands.
It actually broke halfway through.
I should bring one with me and a Predator generator.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's what I was asking about what the best bad car is, because...
I think we have a decent list there.
I've noticed that, I guess Corey's going home.
Yeah, Corey has surrendered early.
Bye, Corey.
But I think I've decided that...
I didn't even say anything. What a prick.
How
are we supposed to sound engineer without him? Oh, let me turn down his microphone.
This is why I can see his car starting. He's just driving away. He's had enough of these shitty cars. All he wants is good cars.
Let's listen to him drive away.
Anyway.
Very quietly. Okay.
Anyway, what I was saying, just since all of 2020 for me has been going to this car meet, my like thought pattern on cars is becoming...
How do you spell thought?
T-H-O-T. Pattern on
That's
cars...
correct, thank you.
...is becoming increasingly jaded as to what I actually like.
Good, it's going to make meets way better when we're finally done with this shit.
Yeah, because like, I don't like... I'm not going to go to a meet and like get excited for an STI. Like, I don't care. But like, if I see like a 1995 Lincoln Continental two-door with a Coyote, I'm going to that. That sounds awesome, because I had LED taillights in 1995, and that's cool. And they're the only thing that still works on the car.
That's actually more impressive, because 1995 LEDs were not reliable.
Well, the rest of the car wasn't very reliable either, so.
In tech.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right, fair enough. Actually, I think okay. Oh, geez, this one is me. Wow. Wow, God, my topic is really, really not great now. So, geez, sorry.
Here, how about this? I'll give you a little bit of a lead-in. Did you see the BMW Isetta Volkswagen Beetle gasser? It's on Brand Trailer.
I did, yes. It looked very interesting.
It looked hilarious.
I mean, yeah, it's an Isetta, like 3-wheeler, I guess, at the front.
It's a 4-wheeler. Yeah, they're 4-wheelers. And they put like a transaxle from a Beetle in the back.
With the Baja Bug blast pipes on it. And it was painted Bass Boat green.
Oh, I love it.
So anyway, both of these cars were pretty much born from Nazi Germany.
Yes, they were. There you go.
And I'm going to use that as my segue. So the most recent set of tires I bought was a set of tires for Mr. Wags. And
your German car.
Yeah, it was a German car, and I bought Continental tires because I had heard great things about the dry weather summer tires for Continental, about them being kind of Pilot Super Sport, good, but a little bit less money. Turns out Continental is dealing with a lot of fallout because of a recent ad that they put out that harkened back deliberately to their helping the Nazi German party get around.
Their what?
Yeah, so their ad said that they, in fact, I have it in the notes here. Pardon me on the stream. It said the advertising campaign slating that it was pivotal to Hitler's war machine.
Why are they advertising that? I would try to not advertise that.
I don't know, but now I have regrets for having bought a set of Continental tires because that seems kind of poorly.
Yikes.
So Continental, you should not do that and not be proud of your MAGA origins in the 1930s of the Germany with your Hitler.
That's bad.
So don't buy Continental tires right now, at least. That's kind of what
wouldn't.
it's really.
Well, the good news is
It's like Ford canceling all the sedans. I mean, that's
really bad.
yeah. So don't do that, and don't tattoo people, and don't put
there's a reason,
yellow stars on their chest. And
there's a reason that Volkswagen says that they were born in 1947.
Because it's the year after the war.
Yeah, it was the year when they started.
But it's wrong.
It's when they started reproducing them.
Yeah, but the thing is, they were definitely going during the war.
Yeah, there's like the whole Commander wagon. So anyway, as such, I actually want to talk about tires as well.
Yeah, no, please take me away from this topic because
So,
I put it in earlier.
I need wheels and tires for my van because I just am done.
Looks fine to me.
I am done dealing with my square inner wheels. The whole inner rim of my wheel is like a.
So your wheels were
square.
Designed in Canada?
No, but they've turned into Canadian wheels thanks to our
okay.
potholes.
All right, fine.
So anyway, I'm gonna be buying some new wheels. And I'm gonna be going to Fitment Industries because they have nice wheel and tire packages. They're pre-mounted, so I can just like slap them on.
Sure.
It's really nice. And they do really good deals with a bunch of cool brands like Koenig and other things like that. We're not sponsored by them. I just think they're cool.
You don't have to settle with like the off-the-shelf discount box brands.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't have to put on like.
You don't want to
Modas.
put Vox wheels.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Box wheels.
Vox
So,
VOX.
Oh.
What I can do with
Discount.
this.
Yeah, my brain doesn't work.
So a set of 4 Koenig hexagrams. Also, Koenig, talk about a wheel company that went from being pure shit to being actually really cool in like literally 2 years.
I mean, it doesn't take much. All I have to do is make good product.
Well, that's
for
literally
a
what they
little
did,
bit.
Is they like turned around, they changed their logo on their nice wheels.
Oh, really?
And they still make their garbage for Discount Tire.
Excellent.
But now they have like a nice wheel brand, which is great. That's what Hip has on his 240 now. He's got Koenigs. And actually, they make some cool wheels.
It's always been a great name. I mean, I remember playing Midnight Club or something on my PSP and like, oh, I want the Koenig whatever's.
And there you look at the wheel and like, oh, it looks awful.
Yeah. No, it wasn't great.
So anyway, well, I'm gonna probably get some Koenig hexagrams, which are actually we want to bring them up on the screen. You can see what I'm talking about, like with Koenig wheels suddenly making cool looking wheels. Like they went from making like their like double split spoke whatever trash or Discount Tire to like making that. Like that's a cool looking wheel.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice.
So
Dude, those look great on the Fiata.
yeah. So a set of 4 of those with Nitto Neogen tires for my van, 18s. I'm gonna be looking at about $1,500. They are delivered to my front door with tires installed.
Already mounted and everything.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I just need to bolt them onto my van. So
That's pretty good.
that's a really good deal.
That was always a huge selling point for me back in the day with Tire Rack because I'm like, oh,
I just,
their
I don't wanna deal
prices
with
are a
it.
little
Yeah.
bit higher, but like
I
it comes mounted and balanced, especially when
Mm.
TPMS started coming out too. It's like I don't want to deal with that shit.
I really like 100% don't like nothing wrong with going to a mechanic shop. But like if I don't have to go to one, I don't want to go to one.
Right.
Yeah,
Especially
and all of
right
your
now.
friends that used to mount tires don't do that anymore. So
Yeah,
it's not
so
like
just
you
like-
couldn't be like, "Hey, can I come in after hours?"
Yeah, I don't. I can't like,
not
call
even that,
Chris
just,
Lee
like-
and be like.
Like even an appointment during hours, but I know it's you.
Yeah.
Well, my other thing is like I just bought these wheels, so like historically I've had like Mugans. I've always had nice wheels in my cars, with the exception of my van. Every single time I take it to a tire shop, I'm always really worried that I'm gonna get my wheel
Especially
back
with
all.
Mugans,
Yeah, I'm gonna get my wheel back all screwed up. Like, I don't want to deal with that level of bullshit. Like, I'm not going to the cheapest place to have my tires mounted. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to the best place because I don't want to like, you know.
I get that. I guess I haven't ever really had an issue with
I
tire
think
mounting.
that the
but,
nicest,
like,
but the
I call ahead and make an appointment with like the Ferraris and stuff.
with the exception of the Lamborghini, the
I
most
did have to
expensive-
take that
yeah.
to Samaritan, which
But
is
I mean,
known for dealing with stance wheels and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like, with the exception of Lamborghini, you haven't had fancy wheels, really. I mean, the fanciest
Well, I mean,
wheel...
it's like the Ferrari to discount tire. Those are magnesium, and they're very thin paint finish. Thanks, Ferrari.
So, anyway, but, I mean, like, you don't have, like, it's not like me where it's, like, literally every wheel I've ever had. Like, the least sought-after wheel I've ever owned on one of my cars was a Gozaigen F&O and RC, which is a very sought-after wheel.
You have very rare, valuable wheels. I just have very expensive wheels.
Yeah,
that's
and
the
that's the
difference.
thing,
I can replace mine. It's just very expensive.
Mine are literally irreplaceable.
Yours don't exist.
Yeah, like my Gozaigens were in the exact size.
We have
they
similar
were in.
worries, but for different reasons.
It kind of goes like our entire friendship. Like that just kind of goes like
We have similar worries for different.
That's exactly.
Carbitrage podcast. Similar worries for different reasons.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, with these new
Mine's
wheels,
just anxiety.
I really love
you
that.
just have
I used
worries.
to-
Yeah, that's why you bridge us. That you're the trifecta.
Yeah,
because
I'm
you
just-
just you're always worried about everything.
Anxiety.
I used to have really bad anxiety too, so I empathize with that.
Yeah.
So,
Mine's crippling. It's great. It's
with
a fun time.
with these Koenig wheels from Fitment Industries, I have the option to finance them where I only have to pay $95 a month. And if
For how long?
Fuck, I don't know, like 8
Years.
years. But I mean, like,
That's a terrible deal if it's 8 years. If it's 1 year,
all right, so 1,500 divided by 95. Whatever
Math
that would be.
that I can't do.
I think that's like
'cause
20.
with interest, it might be 2 years.
Yeah, like 2 years. So I could do that. Or if you pay within this first 6 months, you can now get a very nice set of wheels without impacting your life.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Small chunks of cash over a long period of time is nice. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why
I do
we
like that.
finance cars.
Now, this is
so-
my question. How
Okay.
do you feel about financing car parts?
The biggest issue I would have with that is like the people that offer the financing is almost always so predatory.
Oh, it's always super. Trust me, this is this is like bad credit card.
And I mean the thing you're referencing, I'm sure it's a firm or something
Yeah,
like that.
firm
Where I see it all
actually.
the
That
time.
was
Okay.
actually a firm, yeah.
Yeah, so that's great if you pay it off within 6 months. If you don't, you have been accruing really high interest the entire 6 month period, and it smacks you on month number 7.
Yeah.
So, like, great if you pay it off in 6 months. Really, really bad if you're one of the poor, unfortunate souls that
Yeah.
doesn't. It's kind of like Columbia House DVDs or CDs. Like, this is great. And then you forget to cancel it 1 month, and you're like, why did I just pay $98 for Stevie Wonder's Beyond the Blues on DVD? And then you cancel it, but, like, you have a really bad taste in your mouth because you did it.
Yeah.
Audible
Yeah.
did that to me several times.
Audible, it was worse back in the day. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really bad.
Audible screwed my pooch numbers of
Oh,
times.
my.
Your poor pooch.
And like I always ask Ryan, like, hey, can I use one of your free books this semester to get one of my textbooks? And he's like, oh, sorry, I just used my credits. Why don't you do the free trial? And I'm like, all right, cool. Will you remind
It was
me?
one of those things. I totally forgot to remind her.
And they tried.
The free
And then
trial
I
has to be so
canceled it
good.
immediately because I was like, ADHD, I'm not going to remember to cancel this.
Oh, yeah, without calendar
I
reminders,
canceled
I
it,
would have to
and
do the same thing.
It took back all my credits. So all the books that I had been paying for
Oh, no.
So I had been paying for it for like 6 months, and they took my 6 credits. As soon as I canceled it, they were null and void.
That's pretty shit.
Yeah,
So-
and that's happened to me 3 times.
I really
So-
hate subscription stuff.
This is my thing.
Okay.
How do you feel? So with financing car parts,
Yeah.
at what point do you think if it's something where you could normally afford it, but you're just trying to avoid having to
I was
pay
gonna
in the
say,
ass?
if you have the cash in your account to buy the thing, but you do it anyway, fine.
Yes.
But if you don't, and you are at all on the fence about being able to swing that in that amount of time, if you have to run your finances, do not do that.
I would say this. There's this thing called optimism bias, where you're
Okay.
biased to be like, yeah, I can do this. I can totally do this.
Like, I just
Yeah.
had one weird paycheck, and I can't quite afford it right now, but next paycheck I will be able to.
Yeah, that's like an optimism bias.
Okay.
So
That's a yikes bias to me.
what it's the actual term for that is optimism bias.
That's a
So
great word. I'm gonna have
You're
to file this
biased
away.
for being optimistic about your
Is there a
situation.
pessimism bias?
Yes.
I'm sure
I have
there
that.
is.
There is.
Yeah.
So like the optimism, yeah, I have a pessimism where I'm like, I don't think I can do something until I have definitive proof that it's possible. That's why I own a house now. So
And I was
actually, I
gonna
would
say,
rather have that. Like,
I'm like,
that
weird,
sounds
I
great.
have so much money in my bank account right now. How did that happen? Oh, right, I still have a job.
Yeah. So like an optimism bias is being like,
God.
I can totally do this. I can make this happen. I just need to work hard for it. That's an optimism bias. Once you go, I have to blank for blank to happen.
Yeah.
That's an issue. If it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, I can just do this.
Well, and again, like wheels and tires is not something you buy regularly. Like
No.
this is something that happens every couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I think things like wheels and tires,
Yeah.
coilovers. Yeah, that makes sense.
Even like a catastrophic random engine failure or something like that. Like I would finance something like that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
If it's something like if you're going on maperformance.com and you're seeing what your monthly payment is for like a cold air intake, don't do that.
Dude, I see monthly payment crap on Amazon purchases.
Well,
Like,
that's the thing.
Right?
Well, because whenever you have a firm on something, so I used MA Performance because like I knew how the back end of their website worked back in the day. But like, a firm would just always pop up. It would always, like, the way a firm works is it gives you the monthly payment. If you're looking at that and you're like, I can hit that monthly payment.
I
and
can't
then
hit
can
the
afford
top
it.
number, but the bottom number, I got that one.
That's your issue. I think, but if you're financing wheels and you can afford it normally, or like maybe throw it on a credit card, but you just want to just like get it done with and just be like not have it affect your overall credit card.
Being someone who doesn't make a ton of money, and I've been trying to purchase things for the house, fortunately I've been able to do a lot of work through school because we can't let students do it right now. So I've been going down almost every weekend to Tracy, and I get stipends for doing that. So I've put all my stipends and my extra financial aid into savings, and so I'm like, okay, I have money for this, but if something happens, I don't want to have that like $300
and that's the thing.
out of my
That's
bank
called
account.
being realistic. But these people have optimism bias. They don't think about if that happened.
Right.
They think of the best case scenario, and they're like, yeah.
Those aren't the people that understand that you're supposed to have a 7-month supply of cash on hand at all time in case something happens.
And it's
and
like,
even I don't do that.
no, I don't. That's insane.
I mean, I do a 3-month because that's all I can. Like, that's just too much money. I'll spend it if it's more than that.
I've got like I might have a 2-month. If I stretch things, I can make a 2-month.
Like
I never looked into it until COVID started, and then I looked into it.
When COVID,
I was 3 months.
That's actually the thing with COVID is I lost my job, and I'm like, wow, thank God I've got a 2-month thing. Like,
yeah. In fact, I think we even talked about that probably on the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, and like for me, because I get all these stipends and like they're not taxed, but I can't rely on them like monthly.
Right.
They're just something that comes occasionally.
Right.
And like sometimes I only get paid for like 1 day of work, even though that I'm there for 2 days just because of weird college stuff. And like it's also supposed to cover my expenses for when I'm down there. So
Okay.
if
Is
we
like a
ended
per
up
diem
just
on top of that then, or is it something
no,
else?
it's just flat rate because it's going through a grant. It's not actually the college paying for it. So like sometimes my professor, if there's not a lot of extra people, she'll be like, "Oh, I'll just put you on my card, and then we'll, that way she can run it through her expenses, and then that gets charged."
Nice.
Whereas like it won't get charged for me. So like sometimes I spend $200 in that weekend, so I have to do that 300 even though that I'm
Oh, it's nice to have the ability to like go and do that. I mean, it's your
so, like,
time, it's travel, it's all that, but like knowing that at least you're bringing something in to
so that's why I've been thinking about a firm, because like I can afford it, but if I have to go down and then wait 2 weeks for this $300, I'm like,
if you do it once for a high ticket random item, I totally get it, but like the folks that I think use it are like the errands of the world.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking of, or people like that. So like, if it's one of those things where it's like,
better.
If you need to do that, you shouldn't do it.
No.
Right.
And I think if you find yourself using it,
I think it's predatory.
I think if you find yourself using
100%.
vehicle financing more than once every few years, I think that's when you find yourself with an issue.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. I like the idea of it because that gives me the ability to say like, get new wheels for my van once I'm all moved into my house, and I can like then I can just do my wheels and my brakes at the same time.
Yeah, unfortunate
it just
timing,
makes sense.
but yeah, that'd be good.
But like that way I can, once I'm all moved in, I can do everything all at once.
Then it's done.
As opposed to like I can do everything all at once, but now I have to eat some like ramen noodles on like Tuesday or something, like before payday. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like.
It also doesn't help that he lost his debit card.
Oh my God, that was
on
awful.
Oh, for Pete's
second
sake.
week of pay, so like I have had a few days off of work.
Well, honey, that has nothing to do with this
and
situation.
I know, but
That-
it's just
funny,
like,
that's just another annoying. I've had the
but
most
yeah, so
annoying.
it's just like one of those things
I have so much
where-
money that I can't use.
where like he has the money, but like he cannot, like he has
That's
to go
great.
to the ATM to get it. So I've just
Such a
been
pain
paying
in
for
the ass.
everything, and I'm like, Ryan, I have $95.
Oh no.
And I'm like,
Please stop. And he's like, but we need towels for the house, and I'm like, I have $95.
it's like,
But the towels are $13.
I give her like I Zello her $100.
Yeah, and
I'm
he
like,
keeps zelling me, which is great, except for my Zelle automatically goes to my savings, so I
so she's just got a shitload of money in savings now, and like no money to live on.
so I'm like, Ryan, I'm starting to use my credit card.
And she was at as of she's at like
I'm fucking
I don't know
dying.
her like sixth deposit from her like her savings to her
And I've
checking.
already been putting like, cause
Oh my
like
God.
whenever I travel, I use my credit card. So like I've made several trips, so I've been paying it off. And so like my credit card's really high right now,
and
I've
she can
made
pay it.
like 7 payments in 1 month.
Oh
And my
yeah.
bank's like, what are you doing? And
It's
I'm
fine.
like,
I make
it's-
multiple
it's-
credit card
So
payments
is
a
it-
for
month
my
too.
OnlyFans.
But anyway, so that's separate from the Affirm thing. I will be using Affirm. I decided I was going to, and I decided. I
Make
was-
sure you pay it off within
But
6
this
months.
is my thing. I also decided that I was going to do it once I have my other shit handled. And my only reason for using it
Just to try it?
was just because it's a convenience.
Okay.
It's just one of those things where it's like I like looking at my checking account and seeing a comma in both the checking and the savings instead of just in the savings.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain like buffer you keep in all
Yeah,
facets of your
and
life
that's
or
the thing.
whatever. In
It
like
keeps
high
that
school,
buffer
like, oh,
going.
I got $100 in there. Hell yeah!
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like
And then you get your first car payment, like I need at least $1,000 buffer in there, and then you buy a house, and like I need at least like $4 or $5 grand in there, otherwise I'm
Exactly.
freaking the fuck
exactly.
out.
And so that's the thing with Affirm. It allows you to have that buffer.
Yep.
Because like,
Like, well,
If-
if I can't swing that, I can swing a monthly payment.
and that's the thing. Is like the other thing is like, let's say the worst thing in the world happens,
Mm-hmm.
like COVID happens. Well,
Part 2.
yeah, exactly.
Electric Boogaloo.
let's say
Electric CNN. It's
let's
CNN
say
now.
you just spent $1,500 on wheels. You're a middle class person, and you did that.
I would have
March.
murdered you in
No,
your
no.
sleep.
One second. You did that March 8th.
8th.
Yeah, like March 8th, 2020. You just bought some wheels. Well, you don't think the world's exactly. You don't think the world's about to fucking end.
I love that we were both thinking of like it was bad in February, but like where in March did we realize start really
What was the oh shit
I
in
bought-
March?
Reckoning.
Yeah, and that was when they shut down Seattle, which was like March
First
7th,
day of the
March
second
9th.
week.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah,
8th.
I bought.
it was the second week of March was the
So
worst
apparently
week of my
March
life.
8th was the worst day ever.
I
Yeah.
bought-
Train! Oh my God, there's a train! The economy's back!
It's going the wrong way.
But no, that means it's sending things out of town.
Also, I apologize to all headphone listeners.
you have to
I-
understand, this train has not come through here.
It comes through, but it only goes that direction, so I can't get them to toot toot.
But the thing is you see it come through once in a while. This is the first time I've seen it since COVID. That's how bad the economy is.
We haven't been down here that much.
But anyway, so
Sorry,
That's,
my,
I
I
like
love
the
the
sound
popping.
effect.
But anyway, so
Yeah, I bought vintage furniture the second week in March.
yeah,
And,
exactly. It's that.
I
That's
remember
why
that,
my
actually. We
credit
talked
card
about
is
it.
so high, because I was just like, oh, I can pay for it, but I should put it on my credit card, and then I couldn't pay it
the
down because I was
credit
like,
card.
I need to keep my savings because are we gonna close down or not?
And so that's the thing. With Affirm gives you that after this whole post-COVID mindset everybody has now. It's like, oh shit, this is why you have savings.
yeah,
Affirm will give you the ability. You need those wheels because, like in my case, when I step on the brakes, it literally has broken
rattles.
one of the tabs off of my climate control, so the whole climate control swings back and forth about 15 degrees.
That sounds like it breaks more than wheels or tires.
Well, no, it's a combination of the two. Because before it shook a little bit because the wheels.
This is a long train.
This is a
The
big-ass
economy is
train,
getting
yeah.
better. The trains I have seen have been very short.
Yeah, this is a big boy.
The economy's back, boys.
Hey! But anyway, so yeah, between the brakes and my wheels, my whole car shakes. It's one of those things. If you're in one of those situations where you actually need this part, like this will keep you like getting that part, and you still have the oh shit kind of thing where it's like
Coming from the man who works from home.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like, the worst case scenario is that, you know what, you can't pay it off that 6 months, but you still have a $95 a month payment. You're just paying it a lot longer. You're paying a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
But you're also not gonna.
But if you're borderline and you're planning to take a
exactly.
year plus to pay it, don't do it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You can if you need to, but don't plan on it.
For emergency expenses, it's better than being stuck with the full emergency expense.
I think that's the right way.
If you bought a Tiguan and somebody told you not to, and you had to put timing chains in it, use a firm.
Yeah, that's what a firm is for.
There you go.
As opposed, I think that's a good top tip to end that segment on.
Wow.
Fair enough. I want to hop over to another terrible vehicle. We just talked about a Tiguan very briefly. And,
yes.
Oh, shit, am I getting paywalled? So, this
I don't see it yet,
warms
don't
my
worry.
heart. Absolutely warms my heart. The two worst selling vehicles in the entire country right now are CUVs.
Good.
And they're both garbage Mitsubishis that aren't the Mirage.
Good.
Hell yeah.
Yep. So they are the Eclipse Cross and the Outlander.
Good.
Good.
That is pretty much all I want to talk about on this because they're CUVs and I feel gross even saying it. But can we just say that it was a huge mistake for everyone that canceled all of their car production to cancel all of their car production once more?
No, because
Yeah.
they haven't all been like going out of business yet, but I really hope they do.
That would be really good. So I hope they go out of business soon. But I hope the Mirage is one of the best-selling vehicles, and I'm glad that the CUVs
Oh, I'm sure it is.
are just dead.
I want to talk about something that isn't a car, though,
'Kay.
that I actually really liked.
Let's do it.
I want to talk about the Mazda Bongo.
What?
What the is a Mazda Bongo?
Is it like a musical instrument?
This
Why don't you just type in a 1970 Mazda Bongo van,
Why?
and you'll understand how fun these are. Look how cute that is.
This reminds me
No,
of that
these
really
are for sale.
racist
You gotta go to
song from
images.
the Andrew
Yes.
Bongo,
sisters.
bongo, bongo.
The
I don't wanna
delay.
leave
Where's
the
the
Congo.
Congo?
Oh,
This
no.
this keyboard's getting worse.
There we go.
That's pretty representative.
That's exactly.
That is
what a
also
bongo looks like.
224 pixels.
There
Let's
we go.
with
That's a
this
good.
one.
That's a good photo.
I feel like these were all taken with digital cameras in 1999.
Well, you know it.
So this next thing will make sense. So in Japan, in the Chugoku region of Western Honshu, where
I visit there all the time on vacation.
so that's like where Hiroshima is.
Where the bomb went off.
Yeah. So elderly people often are called bongos because
Okay.
they drive these so often. Because I mean, look how cute it is. It's a perfect old lady grandma van.
Look at his little tongue.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Oh, you want to be cooler inside?
Anyway, Mazda finally discontinued the bongo. I'm really bummed.
Just now?
Yes, this year. Well, they've updated it several times. That's the first generation. That's just my favorite one. They're on their 5th generation now, but they just discontinued it permanently. I'm really sad.
That is kind of sad.
Yeah, isn't it sad? So, and it's because of Mazda's tie-up with Toyota.
What happened to Mazda's endearment with their car design? Like the culture that made that is not the same culture that doesn't procreate anymore.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's really weird. I think what it was is they went through a 13-year recession,
Oh,
and that kind of made everybody very sad.
so this is a newer Mazda.
Yeah, look how
Bongo.
happy it still looks, Chan. Look how cute this is even today.
No, it's pretty stinking.
It's
too.
smiling at you.
It does have a very large jawed
And when you look at
smirk.
the newest body style, like a 2020 Bongo, they're
yeah, it
still
still
very
looks happy.
They're still pretty happy looking. But anyway, they're being discontinued because Mazda's tied up with Toyota, and they are. It kind of is just one of those things that got caught in the mix, kind of like how Dodge had the Dodge Colt, and then they also had the Plymouth Horizon and the Omni, the Dodge
okay.
Omni.
Sure.
Whereas, like, the Colt-
Cannibalizing.
Yeah, they were cannibalizing their own
Sure,
sales.
sure.
So the Bongo will live on, but not through a Mazda name. Daihatsu's going to start making it.
Perfect.
I know, right? So now Mazda's going to make a mid-sized minivan.
Only thing that could have made that better is if Zamyad had made the Zamyad Bongo.
But don't wait. I'm not done. It's not Zamyad.
Don't wait.
But it's the Indonesian-made Grand Max. Which is,
Is it going to be called a Bongo though?
yes, a Grand Max
Grand Max
Bongo.
Bongo.
It's a great name.
Can you please print that in 80s vinyl and put it on the door? The
Totally.
Grand Max Bongo.
That sounds great. But anyway, so the Bongo is like, So the Bongo, if you're listening on audio, as most of our listeners do, the Bongo's like Mazda's equivalent of like the Toyota van wagons of the 80s.
It looks like a high-ace kind of wheelbase.
Yeah, it was like a
type of deal.
high-ace. It was a van wagon sort of thing.
When I first pulled up
vanette.
the 1970s version, it actually reminded me of a Subaru 360 pickup.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like that. It's the same kind of body style. So they've kept
And if you
that
don't know what
going.
that is, stop listening to our podcast.
No, don't actually stop listening to our podcast because we like you listening to it.
Fine, listen
You'll
to
get
us, I guess.
you'll get more smarter by listening to us.
Smarter.
You're going to get to be the more smarterest, and then all your friends are going to be this jealous
Yeah,
of you.
they're all gonna be the jealous.
And they'll be like,
of you.
wow, who's the big brain man over there?
But so I just think it's kind of a bummer that Mazda's gonna be canning officially the Bongo, but I am at least endeared that's gonna live on, and Daihatsu's gonna make a little bit of a bigger vehicle. So that makes me it's it's a net gain, I guess. It's a net gain because
And the
now
Big Max Bongo or whatever is going to be pretty good,
the
too.
Grand Max Bongo.
Grand Max Bongo.
The Grand Max Bongo.
They should just call it the Max Bongo.
But I think that's just, Toyota's canceling the Mark II. They're finally canceling the Cressida. Mitsubishi is finally canceling the Pajero. And when we heard about the Bongo going away, we're like, oh no. And then we found out Daihatsu is doing it. So we're like, all right.
If you're in an orchestra or a symphony or percussion or whatever, and you have sheet music for your bongo, I feel like the crescendo at the end would be called the Grand Max Bongo. Right?
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
You'd see
Yeah.
that printed on the sheet
The only-
music.
The only bummer is that, like, it's one of those cars where it's so centralized to one region of Japan loving that car.
Mm-hmm.
When they are closing that plant that they've made the Bongo in for, like, its entire
It'll
life,
be like the Ford factory closing
nobody's going
with
to
the
care.
Ranger.
Yeah, like, it's going to affect this one community, and nobody else on Earth is going to give it any
Mm-hmm.
fanfare. So,
And
that's
like
a
even
little
that community is probably just
bummer.
like, oh no, like, oh wait, when was the last time you bought a bongo? Like, I
Well,
never bought a bongo.
My grandma
Yeah.
has one. Like, that's
Like, great.
yeah. So
As you
anyway,
pull away in your
Gosh, you
Chevrolet
just
Lacetti.
brought like back memories that I didn't realize I had about the
Uh-oh.
Ford plant closing. Like I was
Mhm.
just like,
Remember all those news stories about like, ooh,
oh, like my
Ford's
best friend
closing?
moved because of it.
And yet the site is still in limbo. But
and
Yeah.
so
anyway.
the Bongo shall live on. in our hearts.
All right, so our final topic, I actually want to talk about, unfortunately, Corey left, so he can't even interject on this topic, the idiot. But his oldest sister, Katie, has a 2004 Accord EX manual.
Okay.
And she's looking to get rid of it and get a new vehicle. She is currently looking at rubbish crossovers that aren't manual. But I had a couple suggestions, and I was curious what you guys all thought. That somebody that currently drives a decently well taken care of manual 04 Accord EX, what should they end up in? So I'll go last because I have my
So,
shit written down.
A
but-
manual Accord EX.
yeah, so leather, but
2004.
still an Accord.
It's
a K24.
04,
Mhm.
so it's not the greatest.
No, but it has the good powertrain.
It's more engaging than you would expect it to be. I think
Scott
that's a good
drove
way
it.
to
He's like,
describe
this is great.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's not good, but it's more. It's a
Better
good-
than an Element.
It is a good stinky nugget. That's what it is.
It is a
it's
good stinky
It's a
nugget.
stinky nugget. That's what that car is.
If you have to transmute yourself across the town in a washing machine, that's a pretty
Yeah,
good
like
one.
it's the best bad car.
Mhm.
Or it's that's what that is. So looking for something that's going to be better than that realistically. Actually,
Oh, sorry, in sub 15 grand, but used.
Sub 15 grand used.
Ideally less than 5 years old.
My first one's gonna be more than 5 years old.
That's fine, as long as it's not more than, like, we'll say 7. Like, it's got to be relatively low miles.
An ES 250 with a manual.
That's a really good option. Those are
Or sorry, not
07.
ES. Sorry, IS 250.
I knew what you meant, yeah.
IS 250. With
I think
a
those are
manual.
08 only.
But yeah, I think
That's a
IS 250.
really-
Yeah, that'd be a very very good one.
They were only sold with the 6-speed for the first year.
So all right, this is the thing. The IS 250s, the IS 350s, that is my go-to car for people that want an engaging driving experience but don't want to deal with the bullshit of having an engaging car. Mm-hmm. Because that was like, you don't have the weird shit that BMW has, where it's like I know BMW's great, but they've got weird shit.
As I'm typing this, I thought of another one, sorry.
You aren't dealing with the actual garbage that you get with having a Subaru. You're actually getting a good car, and it's a little bit more upscale, so it's a little bit more impressive than saying you drive a Mazda. So that's a car. Said that friend Joe, she crashed her RAV4. I got her into a Lexus IS 250 6-speed
Oh, hell
all-wheel drive because she needed all-wheel
Most of
drive
them are,
after like understeering into like a guardrail with her RAV4. She was terrified of not having all-wheel drive. So
Oh, God.
It's just one of those things where it's like like I get it. So I would say an IS 250 would be a really, really, really solid pick.
That's a good option. I mean, it is on the older side, but you could probably find one for sub 15 that's pretty well taken care of.
Also going to go with, I think for sub 15 grand, you might be able to get a higher mile Subaru Impreza Sport manual.
You definitely could, because she's looking at like, what do you call the Forester?
The Forester?
Like 15 Forester manuals.
I think that'd be a great car.
That's a terrible car because it runs 0 to be a 15.
Well, I mean, you can put other oil in it.
Yeah, but the person that had it before you won't have done that.
No. And that's
and it
gonna
has
be every Subaru.
And it has an FA, so the oil pump's going to fail.
And that's the thing. That's why I always say, that's why Subaru always takes second place to the IS 250 and the IS 350.
I have this on mute. It's on mute.
I was you have to like double check which phone.
Jana, what are you thinking about? What do you think would be a good option for her?
I don't know.
Oh, another Accord.
Yeah.
I did think of, okay, well, I'll get on to my topics once you guys are done. But.
Do you want to think about while Burger's going over his?
I have nothing in my brains right. My brain does not exist right now.
That's fair.
So
I understand. I understand. Don't worry.
That's just fine. It's
Yeah.
been a long time since Carbitrage, too.
It's been a long time since Carbitrage.
You know what?
And
What?
I've been wearing Crocs, so my brain.
Oh,
longer
no!
exists.
I would say
Okay, good, you're not right now.
Well,
Fiesta
I have
ST.
them with.
That's actually a pretty good answer, too.
It's to be sporty, it's to be fun.
I needed
she's
Four
gonna-
doors, yeah.
The only thing that would
Very practical.
the only thing that I think would perturb me from saying that is my first pick is it feels as small as it is.
But like
But
definitely
that's fine.
a Lexus.
She's.
But I mean, it's also sporty and fun. So I think like
I
she's
think
like,
that's a good
this
answer.
is kind of fun. But oh my god, I'm having a lot of fun.
She's been driving Corey's Fiat 124, and she loves it. So
Okay, then
small
yeah,
car
I
is
think
fine.
a Fist would be a great car for her.
I do love that. Those are called
Yeah.
fists. So I have answers that I premeditated, thought about, and I'll read those last. As you were reading that, and you said IS 250 manual, I thought W204 Mercedes C300 manual. That is a very interesting, very good car that can be purchased in excellent condition for
And
under
what
that
the W204 that
08.
Yeah, 08,
08
yeah,
to
yeah.
10.
yeah,
So it's
that's
gonna be a
that's
little-
a good car. Yeah.
Those are so classy.
It's outside of the Chrysler era, but it's before
This is before
everything went really bad.
These are as reliable as the W140 era cars. They're really, really good. The ones I premeditated, though, the car I think she should actually buy, a 2015-ish Mazda 3 Grand Touring hatch
Yep.
6-speed with the 2.5.
I think you're right. I absolutely agree. And actually, the number one reason why I didn't say it as my first pick is because I saw you wrote that down.
I just like, it's one of those things where like you probably go through the same thought process. Like, what do you currently drive? What do you do? Okay, that's you. Yeah, buy that.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
done. Like it's way more practical than what you drive. It's way better fuel economy. It looks better. It's reliable. It's actually pretty fast. Like the 2.5 is not a slouch.
This is the other thing. It doesn't have the insurance premium that a luxury brand has.
I did not even think about that.
Yeah. It will be cheaper to insure than a Lexus.
And I actually went on several sites and found these, and there are several local examples that are max trim with like 40,000 miles
That would
for
be
sub 15.
You're going to get more car in that than you could for any other brand. in
And
that price
I
range.
would rather drive a C300 manual, but I guarantee that Mazda 3 is a better decision.
Yeah, that Mazda. It's like me. Like I would tell everybody, if I had my way, and what I used to tell everybody is get either an EF Civic or get an AW11 MR2 or a Supra. Those are the three cars you need in life, and those work.
As long as you have all three and you can maintain the other ones that are broken.
those are the cars that work for me,
Yeah.
and only me.
I have, and I hate to say this, I have recommended a CX-5 to somebody before. Because if you are going to buy a garbage-ass crossover, you
Get
may
the
as well
best
buy the one that
garbage.
drives the best and
Yeah.
will break the least.
That's fair.
And the one that you could once upon a time get in two-wheel drive flavor with a stick shift.
You know, it's like me when people say like I need to get a crossover. I just tell them to say, I instead of fighting with them anymore, I just say, yeah, get a RAV4 V6. That's the best one.
Well, the old RAV4 V6 was great. The newer RAV4s suck.
Well, as I said V6 because they don't make the V6 RAV4 anymore.
Touche salesman.
That's a said
Touche
RAV4
salesman.
V6.
Touche salesman.
And they're like, why do I need the V6? And I
Yes.
just like come up with some bullshit. I
Dude,
say,
when those...
they depreciate slower and they have better towing capacity.
Well,
when
and then,
those
like,
first came out, we were genuinely cross-shopping an E90 335i and a RAV4
Yeah.
because it's that good.
It's literally
30
that good right
mpg, 0 to 60 in 6 seconds.
Well, it's also really important
Yes, it
to
is
show
6,
them
so.
like examples of your friend's car, because like the Mazda 5 has sold so many people on Mazda 5s.
Yes.
It's insane.
Random
like, not
people
even,
on Craigslist, actually.
Yeah. And I've looked at those too, but like the fact of the matter is like the newest one that offered the 6-speed and the garbage trim after yours
There goes my M&Ms.
is not new anymore.
No,
like that
yeah.
that's an old car, so I have trouble recommending it to somebody that won't maintain their garbage.
Yeah, which is
But a Mazda 3 Grand
exactly.
Touring,
And that's the thing is-
2.5.
When I recommend a Lexus,
Yeah.
like that's such an easy recommendation. Like you can get anybody into a 10-year-old Lexus.
That won't break either.
Because what you say is, people are like, well, it's old. And I say, yeah, Matt Farah drove 1 to 1 million miles. He cleared the odometer on it. Actually, he cleared it to say 99999. But, I mean, he didn't roll it over. It just maxed out the
and
odometer.
that was a 1UZ, which had a couple things that weren't perfect.
Yeah. Like,
The
so, actually, his was, like, the most reliable one.
3GR,
I
I don't
know-
know, whatever the 2.5 liter V6 is.
I know
That's
it's not
a good
a
engine.
Lexus, but everyone that drives my Toyota Sienna, which has not been maintained to
My dad is in love with that.
yeah,
He's
like
gonna
everyone
probably
who
buy
drives
one
it
at
is
some
like,
point.
this drives so nicely.
It does.
And I'm like,
I drove a
it's
3.5 one on Brainerd with Cruise hanging out the back.
Yeah.
I'm like, this actually isn't
It's
that terrible.
the
a
exhaust
reason
is
people
rattling
modify
so
them.
hard. I get embarrassed in drive-throughs. It's almost 1,000 miles over an oil change just because I haven't been able to
Well, it's
afford it.
COVID.
And like, it's just like, it's still chooching and she
I-
does fine. She doesn't like going over 65, but that's fine. for
Another
me.
thing that I really like about Mazda is
Better
they're-
fuel economy.
they make a very good car based around the chassis,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't make a better car based around the engine. Whereas like BMW, Mercedes, everybody, they all make their better car based around the engine.
Yeah.
And like to get
You're
like
not going to maintain it.
to get like a known good engine, like an engine where it's not like where like you can theoretically find one that's better for a cheaper price, but the ballpark price for like a good engine is around $3,000 for like most BMWs, most Mercedes. You're paying about that much to get one where you like you know you're gonna get a few thousand miles out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the Mazda, you're like maybe $600 unless you have a Mazda speed.
If you can find one that the subframe is still attached to the rusty body, the engine will be fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, well, I mean, like, so like my van, like
Yep.
my van
I
makes some,
cannot believe how clean that thing is, by the way.
Thank you.
Still.
but like my van like makes like some really weird noises right now because
That's fine.
I have a collapsed engine mount.
Ah,
Like
sure.
I can't tell if it's a timing chain noise or if it's just the engine mount rattling.
Let her rip.
Like yeah, because you know what's gonna happen? I work from home. I'm just not gonna be able to leave the house for a couple of days because I'm gonna be putting an engine in. And you
or
know
you're
what?
going to be using my Sienna like you have been the last 2 weeks.
But you know how much that engine's gonna cost me though? Literally $600, and I'm gonna get a Ford Fusion engine, which
I was
is a
gonna
little bit
say,
bigger,
'cause you can
and it's
put-
gonna be a performance
yeah,
increase.
there
My
you go.
favorite is that my Toyota Sienna has bailed him out of so much.
Yeah,
And
I never
people
say
are
anything,
like,
I
"Why
never
are
say
you-"
anything bad about the
No,
Sienna.
you never do, but like other people will see him driving it or like they'll see me driving it and they're like, don't you want a cooler car? And I'm like, I got the coolest car.
No, that
I don't
sounds
know
pretty cool.
about you. I mean, it's not manual, but
Yeah, I drive around in a gray sensory deprivation tank.
yeah.
The second you let me edit, though, I mean, I would totally put a supercharger on it and
No.
lower it with some air
That
suspension.
engine is not a good candidate for a supercharger.
No, I'm keeping it stock because anything you touch breaks.
Yes, it's true.
And it's not because of you, it's
You had-
just
you
how
had
the
one
world
last-
works.
You had one last recommendation.
I did. So when they started, well, what about a CUV option? I'm like, no. But I mean, I'm like, okay, if you're gonna get one, get a 500X 6-speed because they did sell it that way.
Wait, was that the one
CX-5
with the
manual.
weird windows?
No, that's the L.
I like the L.
I actually said a 500L trekking, and Corey made the vomiting emoji. I'm like, it's a Fiat Panda, so check
Yeah.
yourself. Additionally, there was one more where if they wanted to get something brand new, a Civic Sport 6-speed. Because like the
Yeah.
financing's pretty good on a new car right now,
I'd do
and
that.
I found out I was tangent here. My ex's parents sold their Acura Legend manual, and they ordered a brand new Honda Civic 1.5T 6.
It's the same size, yeah.
I know, but
it's the
like
same freaking car.
I thought they were just like, whoa, we just had a manual because we bought it that way. I'm like, no, they went out of their way to buy a new 6-speed car. I'm
That's
like,
pretty great.
Man,
props.
they birthed poop, but they've got good
seriously.
taste.
Well, I mean, I was in the 1951 GMC 12-valve Cummins swap thing that her younger brother James. We talk all the time. That thing is rad. So we were going up and down Coon Rapids Boulevard in that thing, and I'm just asking questions about the current state of things. I'm like, oh, do they still have the Legend and the Sienna? Like, Sienna, yep, that thing's still trucking away.
Hell
Legend, we sold to one of the brothers or whatever, and he sold it off. But they replaced it with a brand new special
It's really
order
cool.
Honda Civic Sport
That's
6-speed.
perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't fault that at all. Like, there's some good stuff going on there, even though the rest of it was
When
pretty
I was a
shit.
little frustrated with the Sienna, just because I didn't want to hurt her when I drove her so much, because I was just like, I love this car too much. I don't want to.
Fewer heat
break
cycles, more miles is better.
Yeah, and so I was looking. I was like, could I get a new Corolla? Because I realized I kind of just want to stick with Toyota, and I was like, I could technically afford a new Corolla. I shouldn't,
I think the
but I
Corolla's a little
could.
expensive.
It is.
I would
but
get it, but it's
with
expensive.
the Sienna, it's like just
I know.
just change the oil until it won't go anymore.
Exactly.
Then do the Corolla, because then you'll
Yeah.
be so far
I know,
cash
I
ahead.
want-
It's like, well,
I want the
Yeah, seriously.
2019 anyways, because I don't know what the 2020
I saw
is.
a
and
blue, that light blue.
that's what I
Our
want
car of the year.
so bad.
Yeah, the 2019
Such a
car of
good
the
car.
year. I saw one the other day. I'm like, I bet it's a 6-speed too. I'm like, that thing is
I know,
awesome.
that's just what I want so bad.
I've recommended that to 2 coworkers. Like, hey,
I started
neither one of
looking
them
at
have done it.
Volvos because they had a really pretty blue.
The Polestar blue is awesome.
I
But
love
that's
that blue.
only on the
similar color.
crossovers, not the sedans.
Yeah, they don't put on sedan
You
anymore.
can get it in the S60, but you have to get the Polestar.
Not with the white top.
Not with the white top.
We don't want the white top.
So, speaking of Honda making great things, let's end the episode off with one quick question. There's small rumors that Honda and Nissan might have some business cooking together.
That sounds
would
like
that
a
be?
bad thing. They're going to make a
What-
Honda engine have bad timing chains?
No, I was thinking of maybe put a Honda engine to a Nissan platform. What do you think would be the greatest way that Honda and Nissan could get together?
I just
Hot
don't
take.
think it's a good idea.
I think a 4-cylinder Z car using a Honda L20T.
That's a great decision. Honey,
I think they should just remain separate.
just
That's that's also a great answer.
Like-
no way it could ever end well.
I mean, if this was like 20 years ago, yes, sure. But currently, and the way things.
Well,
in
okay, answer the question
2020
20
are
years ago
going-
then.
20 years ago, yeah.
20 years ago, yeah.
Like
What would you have liked to have
sports
seen
car,
out of
like-
them?
A sports car combination like the BRZ.
Yeah, so like Honda puts like a B16 into like a basically a smaller
Yeah.
350Z basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
that'd be
like that would be great. But like with the way 2020 is going
It-
and the
Like
way
a-
each
a
of these
VQ
car
and an
companies have
EM1.
been going,
They give you the
it's gonna be some dumb crossover that is gonna be too big to even be
Murano-
an actual crossover.
a Murano
It's gonna
Cross
be
Cabriolet 4-cylinder option.
It's just gonna be an SUV
Oh, wow.
terrible options.
Just the worst thing in the world. So
Yeah.
this is my hot choice would be a Nissan Frontier replacement
Okay.
based off of a Honda Ridgeline platform,
Okay.
rear-wheel drive biased with a Honda V6 and an all-wheel drive system.
Having driven both of those, I don't like the combination.
No, because the Frontier sucks because it's prehistoric.
Yeah,
But
the
basically,
Frontier is
what
terrible.
that would create is that'd create
It's
a
always
small
been
smaller, basically a compact SUV.
Okay, you want
or
a
not SUV, a mini truck.
Ridgeline.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be an actual mini truck. I think that'd be their best
Okay.
option.
A Tacoma
Or
Ridgeline.
actually, you know what? No, not a V6. You make it a little bit smaller. You actually use the Honda K24 that's in the Civic LX, or you use the 1.5. And you
yeah,
make actually a
I think the
small
K has
pickup.
pretty much had its time in the
Yeah.
sun.
They put that into the base model.
It lasted
and
almost
like
20 years, so
yeah.
we'll give it a sunset.
Yeah.
But the LT engines are really
I
good.
think the L series turbo,
L20T would be
an
plenty.
L20T, and like a pickup truck.
Yep.
I think
That is enough grunt low end
See,
where
I
it's
keep
not going
forgetting
to
about the
boost out.
Frontier because when I drove one, it was
Well, that's
so
the thing.
bad.
fair.
Before the Frontier, though, like the Datsun, like D21s
The
and stuff,
Zamyad Z24.
they still make
Well,
them
you
for
just
a
have
reason.
to
Yeah,
understand the context in which I drove a Frontier. I drove a Frontier in between two ridgelines.
that's true.
So it's just like
That is a unique perspective.
And so
Greatness.
well, so that's the thing. That's the difference.
terrible greatness.
That's the thing with the whole Frontier thing is you need to make a better Frontier. So you just use a Ridgeline, which is actually a really good mid-sized pickup.
Yeah.
You just take, say, like the suspension and like the chassis from a Ridgeline, instead of having to be a front-wheel drive bias, it would be a rear-wheel drive bias, and you use like an L series engine, and then
They
just
could tune it for that. It'd be fine.
all you have to do is
Just
just
a
make a
big
different
turbo.
Bauhaus. Yeah.
Big turbo.
Big turbo, because then it won't boost when you're cruising. That's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest
Yeah.
thing for inefficiency on little turbo engines. If it's on boost when you're cruising, you're going to get horrible fuel economy.
Not even a big turbo, a big hot side.
True.
That's all you need. It's just a bigger hot side. So then you have your grunt at mid RPM. So there you go. That's our hot take right there.
There is
So,
replacement for displacement.
there is. Thank
Ooh,
you.
I like that.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.